My squad of 4 divers tried to take on a tiger fresher nest. All I could hear was, "They are coming," and then screaming, and then radio silence. I will remember them. This is only one of the hundreds of stories surrounding the game Barotrauma circling through the game's subreddit and the store page review section. Before purchasing this game, I spent my time reading such stories until I wanted to experience it all for myself. Welcome to Europa, the 6th moon of Jupiter, where clown crime is predominant and tiger fresher soup recipes are in the local newspapers. But on a serious note, insanity obviously set in as the European pioneers lost all contact with Earth mysteriously. It became a fight for supplies and survival as beneath the icy crust of the moon, there are hostile waters not meant for the human species to ever venture in. There are factions such as the European Coalition, which is described as the autocratic de facto superpower of Europa, or as I would like to call them, Big Moon Daddy. These guys have an iron grip on all resources, manufacturing, and power within the Europa. I could go further in the lore of this faction, but that's not why we're here, so I'm just going to briefly go over the other factions. Enforced democracy for violence, which are the Jovian separatists. I will become one with the parasites to further human evolution, Church of Husks. I am literally brain dead and psychopathic, Children of the Hung Mother. These factions all have their specific events throughout outposts, and I will leave you to experience the outcomes of your decisions, however violent they are. Loading up campaign, I am greeting it by a representation of European colonies and some lore to get me immersed along with the overwhelming reminder that I'm underwater through the soundtrack. I am a captain. I start off in an outpost, encumbered by small spaces and shadows that indicate my field of vision. It forces claustrophobia upon me, but nevertheless I select my mission and I proceed to the loading screen before I find myself in the submarine I have chosen. It is metallic, clunky, and complex. Weirdly enough, it felt like I belonged there. It was the coziest underwater coffin I have ever been in. I assign the jobs to my AI crewmates and we depart to neutralize the Moloch that was terrorizing the vessels trying to get through. After getting used to the controls of the sub and the sounds outside the hull, it is quiet. Other than the occasional radio chatter, it is dead quiet. I make my way through the caves, trying my best to not hit the sub of any walls. On the obscure sonar, there were a few pings that were confirmed to be hostile creatures trying to break the hull. They were obviously attracted to our noisy sonar beacon, but finally my fellow crewmates shot them down. We closed in on the Moloch. There was silence. I turned on the sonar, then the giant finally attacked with fury. We had several leaks and the sub was going down, hitting the ocean floor. I mobilized my crewmates to initiate immediate repairs. After we won frantically through the sub, I managed to raise it from the ground with the angry armored space jelly still on top of us. I managed to bring it under the ship and got on the railgun, unloading the remaining 3 shells upon it, stripping it of its shell and stunning it from the huge impact. My crewmates managed to put it out of its misery, and we made our way towards the next outpost. That came from literally the first mission, and it could have been a whole different story if there was an extra mud raptor or a larger leak in the captain's room, which could have killed me when the Moloch attacked. As you continue further down Europa, you will be greeted by several other dangerous creatures and scenarios where you have to improvise and adapt to survive and achieve your goal. After all, who knows what awaits at the end? Barotrauma has multiple features that come together to create this amazing atmosphere where you know that the only things that are keeping you alive are around you and in your inventory. It is easy to lose them in an attack, a betrayal, or an unfortunate event. Diving masks and suits used to further reduce the FOV. This has been removed. Please add them back. Flashlights can be held and aimed or equipped at the face slot to provide vision in front of you if the sub is out of power. The game is dark, you are surrounded by darkness, and in some cases you may even be engulfed in it, as there are missions that require you to go outside and do your objective, which may be destroying a nest, mining, searching for an artifact, or even activating a beacon. All of these outside missions require you to be careful and methodical if you want to survive. Barotrauma converts claustrophobia into safety. Going outside in the deep and wide sea means actively putting yourself in danger by getting lost or eaten alive while you helplessly trying to fight or flight your way out of two mud raptors, breaking you into pieces. It's their territory. You are an organism who is relying on external factors to survive. They were born and survive under those circumstances. Like other games such as Subnautica, these experiences induce thalassophobia, and I can confirm as I fear deep oceans since my encounter with a huge fish in the Mediterranean Sea. I never wanted to go far away from the shore again. Furthermore, you're relying on the battery in your headset to keep in touch with your crew, but what do you do when you pass out and wait for someone to perform CPR and help you? You sit there bleeding out, hearing your crew's chatter. They probably forgot about you and cannot find you, so they gave up on any rescue attempt. You were left for dead after that mud raptor or leukocyte encounter. God knows what got you in that state. Either on the verge of death, paralyzed, or running out of oxygen. I have mostly played this game with friends while chatting on Discord, which I have decided that has actively ruined the experience. Local and radio chat become null, even though they are critical aspects of the game and contribute with the immersion. Do yourself and your fellow crewmates a favor and get off Discord call. Enjoy being horrified at the sight of finding your friend being munched on in the reactor room by God knows what. There are multiple threats that you should look out for when exploring a wreckage, or what I would like to call it, an underwater coffin. You will find the corpses of the crews that once operated this now destroyed ship. As you wander through the remains of the vessel, you can find loot of all sorts, and medicine that can be put to good use. In some cases, one of the crew members survived, but not really. Husks are humans that got infected with a Lonoceps calyx parasite, which consumes the interior of the host and uses the host's shell as an exoskeleton, hence the name Husk. They swim quickly and wander frantically until they find their next victim, after which it will attack and has a moderately high chance of infecting. The soundtrack you get from the infection progression is just terrifying. The dialogues are definitely not helping. In some cases, you may engage in combat with creatures that have also been affected by this parasite. At the moment, only the crawlers succumb to such horrible mutilation, but I'm sure that in the future we will have more such cases. You're approaching a wreckage thinking it's gonna be like any other. A bunch of corpses and maybe a loose crawler or a husk. You are now 40 meters away and you get knocked down by an explosion. You manage to get up and get a diving suit on. The sub is going down. Fortunately, it lands on the wreck. You get to fix the damages and you find the shell that hit your sub. Physicorium. The sub keeps getting damaged and something is pulling it towards the wreckage. It's alive. Your crew mobilizes and sends volunteers outside to exterminate the threat.
Hey, what the fuck is that thing? Wait a minute. What the fuck? This thing has a fucking brain.
Well, the rest of the story is up to you and your experience. You will panic as everything is going to hell and you reach crush death, while your crew is dying and the sounds of the sea get muffled by the constant onslaught of hostiles. Barotrauma is a game that has to be savored, and every aspect of it has to be accounted for the effect to settle in nicely, and every mission can end up having a good story or a tragic one come up from it. If you enjoy crisis management and survival horror aspects, then this is the game for you. Finding friends, crewmates is surprisingly easy through playing or just engaging with the community, and I encourage you to do so. Even with a crew, the sense of loneliness will never leave your side.